Hi guys, we're still reading Stick Dog Wants a Hot Dog by Tom Watson, and we're now on chapter 8. Remember in chapter 7, they were still trying to get poor Karen out of that house with the bearded man. So they were waiting for someone at the door, and they were thinking the man was going to come out, searching for a girlfriend. But instead, it was someone else. So hopefully we'll find out in chapter 8, which is called Plummeting Clumsily. Plummeting clumsily. Those are two big words. Plummeting, which usually means falling down, going down, 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 down. And then clumsily. Oh, that usually means you're tripping a lot or you're pretty awkward in your movements. Let's see. It was Karen. She was at the door. She stood on her back paws and put her front paws up at the door and pressed her nose to the screen, stretching it forward. So stretching it up against the screen. Stick Dog saw her first. He ran out from between the bushes, from the bush in the house. He spoke urgently. Get back, get back, get back. I think that human is about to come out. When he does, I'm going to slip this stick into the door. It won't close and you can escape. Go, hide, fast, again. By this time, Mutt, Stripes, and Poo Poo had emerged from the hiding spot too. They were all crowded around the door now. I'm so glad you're safe, said Poo Poo. He was shaking with nervous energy. Me too, said Mutt. Did you find anything to eat in there? Said Stripes. Just crumbs, Karen answered casually. I hid under the kitchen table when I heard him coming earlier. You know, back by the glass door. Stick Dog was curious. Why are you so calm? Don't you want to get out of there? Oh, yeah, Karen answered. Oh, that's not Karen. Karen answered. This guy is a real nutball. Did you see all that weird stuff he was doing? Pretty sure it was a mating dance, Poo Poo said, and then puckered his lips. He's looking for a little smoocha, if you know what I mean. Karen nodded her head. That makes sense, I guess, even though that's really gross to think about. Stick Dog tried to get them back on subject. He couldn't understand why Karen was not panicked. So why are you so calm? Asked Stick Dog. Oh, yeah, right, Karen answered. This human's wacko, all right. I need to get out of here, but I'm pretty sure we have some time. He went downstairs, and it looks like he's going to be in there for a while. He's doing the strangest thing I've ever seen. Stranger than before? Asked Stripes. Karen nodded. He went down some steps, and he didn't come up, and he was making some weird noises, so I went to have a look. I went down a couple steps to take a peek. Well, what did you see? Asked Mutt. What was he doing? Poo Poo asked. What kind of crumbs were under the kitchen table? Asked Stripes. Nothing very good, said Karen. Crackers and stale bread, I think. There she is, looking under the table. Stick Dog shook his head a little. They had to get Karen out of there, and even if they didn't have more time to do so than he thought, it didn't change the fact that he had quickly gone from pretty hungry to almost starving. His stomach was growling almost constantly now, and he knew that darn raccoon Phyllis, did you forget about her? I did, was probably getting closer and closer to that Frankfurter cart. Why do you think we have plenty of time? He's doing this odd thing downstairs, said Karen. He's running. Running? Inside? Asked Stripes. Running inside. In a circle? Asked Mutt, tilting his head slightly, like when you chase your tail and can't catch it. I caught it once on January 16th. Best day ever, Karen corrected. And then she said, no, he's running in a straight line. What is that he's running on? Yeah, it's a treadmill. Oh my goodness. A straight line? He must be running face first into the wall over here, said a wide-eyed Poo Poo. I'm starting to like this human. Karen smiled and shook her head. No, he's on this machine that has its own floor. Sort of. The floor goes around and around and around. He runs, but doesn't move. Stripes, Poo Poo, and Mutt all had confused expressions on their faces, trying to picture what Karen was describing. They turned toward Stick Dog to see if he could explain it. He usually could. He runs, but doesn't go anywhere, Stick Dog said as much to himself as the others. What kind of creature would do that? It's ridiculous. I agree. It was then that they felt a strong breeze. It flapped the sheets and clothes that were drying on the line, and more important, it blew the aromas from the Frankfurter cart in their direction. They all lifted their noses and sniffed at the meaty scent. Okay, Stick Dog said. Who cares? This human likes to shove little things in his ears. He moves his body in strange ways, and he's running without going anywhere. It doesn't matter. He can be as strange as he wants to be. That's his business, not ours. Our business is getting Karen out of this house and then snatching those Frankfurters. With the help of the Frankfurter smells drifting past, it was easy for them to all refocus on their mission. Now, if he's not going to be coming through this door anytime soon, how are we going to get you out of there? Asked Stick Dog. There has to be a way. Well, there is, said Karen. There's a window open at the back of the house. I found it when I was looking around. I'm just going to hop out. Really? Stick Dog said, clearly surprised. Why didn't you hop out before? Well, I wanted to get all the crumbs that I could, Karen admitted. And then I thought I heard you guys out here. I didn't want to worry you. There's really an open window? Asked Stick Dog. Really? Well, how about that? Said Stick Dog, smiling. Finally, an easy solution. No elaborate plans or sneaking around. Great. We'll meet you in the back then. Karen winked and pointed a paw at Stick Dog, pressing it against the screen. You betcha. They stalked away from the front door, careful to stay out of the view of Peter, the Frankfurter man. They scurried on their bellies to stay low and out of sight. They stopped once about halfway. Another breeze had lifted one of the sheets, and they paused to look at the Frankfurter cart and sniff that meaty scent drifting on the wind. When they looked, however, they saw something else. What could it be? Phyllis was now positioned in a sycamore tree, much closer to Peter and the cart. And that wasn't the worst of it. Look. Now she had 3 other raccoons with her. There were a total of 4 puffy ringtails hanging out of the leaves of that big sycamore tree. They all noticed at once. Oh no, said Stripes. She's got help, whispered Mutt. She's assembled an entire Frankfurter assault squadron, Poo-Poo exclaimed. Shh, whispered Stick Dog. He didn't like the looks of this either, but the Frankfurters were no longer their top priority. We have to get Karen first. She should be back there by now. They scurried the rest of the way to the patio. Where's Karen? Asked Stick Dog, looking around when they arrived. I thought she'd be out here by now. Here I am, Karen called. She was leaning out of the window on the second floor of the house. I took one last look for Crumb. Sorry to keep you waiting. Clear out a spot for me. I don't want to land on anyone. She then ducked back inside. Karen, no, yelled Stick Dog. No, don't jump. She came back to the window, and Stick Dog exhaled. Why not? Karen said calmly. You want me to check out the kitchen for scraps? I'm pretty sure there's nothing else there, but I guess I might have missed something. Stick Dog dropped his head and looked at the ground for a minute. Then he came closer to the house and closer to Karen. He looked up at her now from the lawn. You can't jump that high up. You'll break every bone in your small body. He sighed. When you said you found an open window and were going to jump out, I just assumed it was on the first floor. Stripes came up to Stick Dog then and put a paw on his shoulder. You really shouldn't make assumptions, Stick Dog, she said. It can totally mess things up. It's like how I assumed you could fly a helicopter. That assumption messed up the whole plan. Otherwise, we'd be feasting on Frankfurters by now. You should have learned from that. Stick Dog eagerly removed Stripes' paw from his shoulder. You're right, Stick Dog whispered. I'll try to keep that in mind, Stripes. Thanks. Glad to help, Stripes replied. Stick Dog looked at Karen high up in the second floor window. Stay there, he said. I'll be right back. Okay, Karen called. You guys stay here too, he said to Mutt, Stripes, and Poo-Poo in a quieter voice that I could only hear. He said, Don't let her jump. This will take a minute. Stick Dog rounded the corner of the house and slowly leaned his head out to look at Pete, the Frankfurter man. Come on, Stick Dog whispered. Do something. He did. Peter turned around and leaned down and began to tie his shoe. Stick Dog's eyes opened wide. I don't believe it, he said. He ran as fast as he could to the laundry line and ripped down one of the 2 sheets drying there. Without even glancing back, he raced back to the corner of the house with the sheet clenched in his jaws. Once he turned to the corner, he stopped and dragged the sheet the rest of the way behind the house. He took one look at Peter and smiled. Peter was just now standing back up from tying his shoes. Stick Dog took the sheet to the lawn beneath the window. "Help me spread this out," he said. They all worked to spread the sheet out while Karen watched from above. What are they doing? "Okay," Stick Dog said and began to explain. "We're each going to clinch one corner of the sheet with our mouths. We're going to pull it real tight, and then when I signal Karen, she's going to jump and land in the middle of the sheet. It should cushion her fall just enough, but it might hurt our mouths and teeth just a little when she lands." Stripes, Mutt, Poo Poo didn't say a word. They simply leaned down, bit into the sheet, and lifted it. "Did you hear all that, Karen?" he called up. She nodded. "When I nod, you jump," said Stick Dog. "Try to hit the middle." Oh gosh, guys, I'm getting nervous. Karen is going to jump out of the second floor story window, way up high, jump out the window, and try to land on this sheet. She nodded again. And Stick Dog picked up his corner of the sheet. "Okay, we have to stop here for a minute. I'm sorry. I know it's kind of an important part of the story, but I need to make something clear here. You know, not to go jumping out of a window, right? I mean, I don't want to say that's right. It's dangerous. If you have 4 friends holding a sheet real tight under the window, you're way too heavy for the sheet to stop you. Heck, I doubt if it would even slow you down. So no jumping out of windows, okay? That means stop. Do not jump out of the window." Good. Now back we go. With clear determination on his face and in his eyes, Stick Dog looked in succession at Mutt, Poo Poo, and Stripes. Each of them had a solid grip on the sheet and were scooting backward to pull it tight. When it was taut as it could be, Stick Dog raised his eyes to Karen. He nodded his head. And Karen jumped. Do you know what the word majestic means? It means awe-inspiring. The Grand Canyon or Niagara Falls would be considered majestic, for instance. The Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco is considered a majestic work of architecture. When referring to movement, it means really beautiful and graceful. An eagle soaring through the sky is majestic. When Karen jumped from that window, she was not majestic. There was nothing beautiful or graceful about it. First, she caught one of her back paws on the windowsill, which made her start tumbling immediately. And she wasn't quite falling. It was more like plummeting. In fact, I think the best way to describe her descent would be this: she plummeted clumsily. But there's something really important. While her fall was not majestic, her aim was perfect. She landed on her back, right in the middle of that sheet. Stick Dog, Stripes, Mutt, and Poo Poo clinched the material with all their strength. They braced themselves with their front legs as hard as they could, but they were still pulled inward with Karen's impact on the sheet. It sagged rapidly with her weight, and everyone pulled as hard as they could. The sheet brushed against the green blades of grass beneath and then rose again, bouncing Karen safely to the side, where she landed right side up on the patio. Then she bowed. "Thanks, everybody," she said, as the other 4 dropped the sheet and stretched their mouths and jaws. Then she sniffed at the air, and Stripes, Poo Poo, and Mutt did too. Karen said, "Those Frankfurters smell delicious, don't they?" Stick Dog smiled and said, "Let's go get them." Wow, guys, how crazy is that? So she plummeted clumsily out the window, and they caught her with that sheet. Now, chapter 9 is stackifying. I hope they get those Frankfurters.